afternoon, Lab Coats. I think we're live, and just for the record, this is literally the very first time I've ever done this, so hopefully I'm not going to talk to myself and Suneet for a half an hour, and hopefully you guys get looks like it's working. So my name is Brian Curtis, and Suneet needs to hit mute. Hit mute on your tab. You got it. Wow, okay, so I screwed that up. Your Facebook tab, when you go Facebook Live or otherwise, it has a horrible echo and keeps talking. Anyway, my name is Brian Curtis, and my special guest today is Suneet Agarwal. I'm excited to have him here. Suneet and I have known each other for years, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook seller leads, and I'm excited to have Suneet. So, Suneet, introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Brian. I think if you've been on Lab Coach, you may have seen me once or twice. But I think this is something exciting and something that all of us want to do better at the topic for today. So I'm pumped to get a front row seat there.
All right, awesome. So, last week we talked about Facebook leads. We talked mostly focused on the buyer side, which is honestly, I feel is where a lot of people are generating leads, and I've heard some very negative things about generating Facebook and pay-per-click seller leads. But here's my experience. It works. You just have to treat them a little bit differently. So I'm going to start talking about intent. So I'll throw this over to you, Suneet. If you went on Facebook today and filled out a form that said, what's the value of your house? Really, what do you think your expectation is when you do that?
Oh, I mean, every consumer out there who at least has a Facebook should expect somebody reaching out after opting into something. I mean, it's just...
And it's crazy, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
And the flip side of that is, my wife and I had this discussion just yesterday. When I fill out a form and put my name, phone number, and email address, I'm surprised if somebody doesn't call me, right?
Sure.
But how many times have you called a lead, or somebody on your team's called a lead, and they're just dumbfounded that you reached out to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it happens less and less, but it definitely still happens, especially with a Facebook lead or PPC.
And for those of you guys who haven't watched this before, we've talked about this on a previous episode, but understand how Facebook lead ads work. So a lead ad is something that we've made the barrier of entry a little bit easier. So when I started running Facebook ads for the first time back in 2014, it had a pop-up and it said, fill out your name, your address, your phone number. You had to go in and you had to take 5, 6, 7 steps and then hit send before that information went out to that buyer or to that seller.
You actually had to leave Facebook.
Right. Absolutely. You weren't there. That's not what happens today. Right. What we've done, and what it does is create more leads, but it doesn't necessarily create a higher quality lead. You get more accurate information, assuming that Suneet put his information incorrectly into Facebook, which not everybody does. I can tell you right now, my information in Facebook, it's incorrect. So understand that's a real thing. It's something that can happen. But my point is, you go and you see this ad, it's great. Oh, good, I'm going to fill this out. And all I have to do is one click, and then Facebook basically takes all the information that I've done and dumps it into a form and sends it to Suneet. And now Suneet goes, awesome, I've got a lead. But understand that lead may not even have paid attention to the fact that they just sent their name, phone number, email address, and any other information that Facebook is willing to give us to them. So understand that that's maybe why they're not super excited to hear from you. So, let's talk about different calls to action. When you've run some of these Facebook ads before, what are some type of ads that you run, Suneet?
So we're talking seller specific.
Seller Facebook leads, absolutely.
So 2014, I feel like was the year that What's My Home got really big.
Yes.
And we all focused a lot of energy on it. And funny enough, when I learned about those is when I joined Labs at Agent. It was to learn more about the home valuation page. I think it's funny, right? What's my home worth? I think it's just variations on that, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. So the majority of them that we're going to run, and I'll tell you, to this day, I'm running What's Your Home For, or Get Your Free Home Report. Other things that we can run, though, so if you're out there thinking, well, should I be running that? If I'm getting negative feedback on it, you can also run free reports. Free reports on the 10 things to do before you sell your house. 7 reasons not to use a real estate agent. 5 things that will make your house appear, prettier. Who cares? It really doesn't matter. You can run all of those things. But understand whatever your call to action is, that's what you need to answer. So let's role play for a second, Suneet. I'll be a seller. Let's say that I'll be the agent. You can be the seller. Let's say you filled out a form that said 7 things to get my home ready to sell. So I'm going to call you up and say, hey, Suneet, this is Brian. I saw that you filled out a form on my website that you were interested in the 7 things that you get your house ready to sell. Did you get an opportunity to look at that report?
Yeah, I think the report, it's right here.
Yeah. And so a couple of things are going to happen in that scenario. He's going to be like Suneet was, and I appreciate Suneet not being an obstinate seller.
I was thinking about it.
But ultimately, some of the times the people are going to be like Suneet. If you almost heard it, and my guess is because he's made some of these phone calls, and he knows that there's this weird apprehension that comes with it, right? So the number one thing, and I'm going to say to you guys, if you're filling out something, make sure something like 7 things to do this, 5 things to do that, or even a home value report, get talking about the thing that you give them up. Because ultimately the reason that Suneet gave us his information is because I'm going to give him this report that he wants. So the number one thing I want to address immediately is, hey, did you get that report? Because now he can go, yeah, I got the report, and at least he knows that I'm not somebody who's just calling to harass him. He's somebody who ultimately, at the end of the day, he got what he asked for. So at a minimum, theoretically, he shouldn't be pissed off at me. But
so again, I think, just in general, with prospecting and any kind of sales, you have to be lead source specific. You have to be. So whatever you do to make that happen, I think you have. I mean, how many times have you looked in your CRM and someone called the RDC Facebook lead and said, "Oh, thanks for your inquiry on Realtor.com."
Exactly. So that's step one. Did you get the report? Awesome. And then I'm going to follow up. And if you notice that I'm going to go through this process very specifically if I'm sending people reports that aren't home values, which by the way I think is a great ad to run. I'm going to ask him, did you get the report? By any chance, have you had a chance to review it? And here's the difference to me between a Facebook seller lead and, say, Suneet was talking about a Realtor.com lead or a Zillow lead. Time is not necessarily of the essence on these leads, because a Realtor.com lead is, and we're going to talk about this in future episodes, but that's a person who I'm going to get on the phone with as quickly as humanly possible. And my number one goal is to get them in front of a door and open it up. That's not the intent here. The chances of this person being someone who wants to meet with an agent in the next 30 days is about 1%. And by the way, that's still good math. So all of you just heard, oh, 1%, that sucks. That's amazing. Because that means I can run 100 ads and one person will do that. And I'm running ads for $12 to $15. And so, wow, that's $1,200 to $1,500 to go get a listing appointment. For me, that still works. And it's going to be dependent on your market and dependent on what your ROI requirements are. Because here's the rest of the story. That doesn't mean those other 99 are not ever going to list. It just means that those other 99 become nurtures. And, and probably 30 of them are bad phone numbers, bad emails, but the 1% is the right now. That's not where the money's at though, guys. The money's at the guy who says, I'm 6, 12, 18, 24 months out. And, I just a little mindset thing here. Make sure you understand that you want somebody who's 6 months out. I don't know about you, Suneet, but I plan on being in business 6 months from now. I plan on being in business from 12 months from now.
Hell yeah.
It's all about nurture. And when we're talking about Facebook leads, buyer or seller, nurture is where we're at. So anyway, next question I'm going to ask is, did you have any questions about the report? Does anything make sense to you? Is there any other feedback I can give you? Hopefully he's read the report. Let's just assume that you read the report. And, so did you have any questions about the report I sent you at all, Suneet?
You know what, Brian? I think it's pretty clear.
Okay.
I don't really have any questions, Ryan.
No, I'm just, is there, and again, I know I haven't actually sent Suneet a report, but I might ask, did you find any value in it? Is there anything, I'm always trying to make sure that I'm giving people value. Is there anything else in that report that, that you found? And again, I haven't sent them a report, so I'm not going to pull them to the spot there, but ultimately, I'm talking about them.
At some point in time, what I'm going to hope to do is do a little bit of a pivot. And my pivot here is, so just out of curiosity, and guys, if you can learn one phrase in real estate that I abuse on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, it's just out of curiosity. And why do I use that phrase? If you haven't heard me say it before, plain and simple, no one gets pissed at you for being curious. People get pissed at you for a lot of other things, but people don't care about curiosity. So just out of curiosity, I would love to put together a home value report for you so you can get an idea what your house is worth. On a scale of 1 to 10, Suneet, what would you rate your house?
I'd say probably a 9.
A 9. Awesome. Okay. So it looks like your house is built in 2010. Have you done any upgrades to it in the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what kind of upgrades have you done?
Sorry, I'm having fun.
Suneet's my one answer guy. One word answer. Like me talking. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Well, we redone the kitchen and we installed a pool and I got a new roof and I redid all the flooring.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down, pull up some comparable stuff for the neighborhood and set up a quick report, send it over to you. And if you don't mind, I'll follow up with you sometime next week, just give you an idea what I think the house is worth. Maybe, we can set aside 5 minutes, just go over that report. Understand, guys, when I do this, 1 out of 15 people is going to be like, yeah, please send me a report. 1 out of 15 people is going to be like, yeah, I'd love to talk to you. You still have to go through that script because you're looking for the one yes, and you will get them. People are having conversations. The whole key to this Facebook lead or any of these nurture leads is starting a conversation and being conversational. The more I can get Suneet to say, yeah, I just put a new roof on. I just put a new swimming pool. So the swimming pool thing, for example, I would say, oh, great. You're swimming. I guess I didn't know that there was a swimming pool. What kind of swimming pool do you have? Hopefully I'm getting him to talk about, it's a gunite pool and it's 8 foot deep. And all of a sudden he's talking about the things that he loves about his house. And when I get someone talking about stuff that they love, they forget that I'm trying to sell them something. And that's really what this is all about with these type of leads is how do I get this person to talk more? And if you find yourself like me dominating the conversation like I'm doing now, you're wrong. So, keep that in mind as you go forward with that. Try and get them to talk, asking them questions on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate your house? Here's another question. Have you considered selling your house anytime in the next 12 months? So, Suneet, have you considered selling your house anytime in the next 12 months?
No.
No. Okay, great. So you've lived there since 2015, it looks like, and so you're pretty happy there. What? Just out of curiosity, what's your favorite thing about the house?
The pool.
The pool. Yeah, I've got a swimming pool at my house too. I love it. I broke the other day and I had to get it fixed, and I still don't even mind it. There's a lot of stuff that breaks in your house. So I'm just trying to find things in common to talk about. Hopefully, again, we're going to get someone to say they're going to do this. Another thing that I'd love to do for you, are you interested in the real estate market that's going on in your area?
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things I have a marketing company that I work with, and a little shout out to Wailopo. I have a marketing company that I work with, and we've got this really cool feature that we can do, and we can send you this report, say once a month, that it'll send out, that'll actually go to you. It just talks about houses that have sold in your neighborhood and things that are going on in the real estate market. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and set you up on that so that you can have that come to you once a week. Should be a pretty valuable report. I understand that your current situation is that you're not interested in selling, but I would love the opportunity to send the report to you, just in case something comes up. By the way, I'm always looking for houses in your neighborhood. Your neighborhood is a great neighborhood, and we've got plenty of buyers who are looking in there. By any chance, do you know anybody else in your neighborhood who might be interested in selling their house?
Let me just stop you for a second, Brian. I hope there are thousands of people watching this call right now.
Me too.
Listening and taking notes, because you were dropping straight fire, my man. Like, holy smokes. I like learning. I'm like saying, I'm calling my freaking ISA, texting him like, dude, tune into Lab Coats right now.
Well, I appreciate that. But here's something to think about. I get a lot of people who ask me this, and I'm sure you've had it asked to you. What's the script? Do you hear that is, from agents that you work with or people you've coached or what's the script? What's the script? here's the script. Have a conversation like you're a human being. Stop worrying about sounding like you're a script. So once upon a time, I was with a company that will remain nameless, and they gave us these scripts, and the scripts were you'd call up a seller, FSBO or expired, and say, when are you going to find the right agent to sell your house? And my response to that is, I don't know, but it sure as hell ain't you. And because I don't need somebody else to harass me. And, you know, Tristan, who's obviously a big part of Lab Coats, one of the owners of Lab Coats, he does this better than anybody I think I've ever heard. The number one thing that Tristan does, and this is a great takeaway, is the second he gets on the phone, I hear him trying to empathize with the other person on the other end.
100%.
And he does it better. Like, I've heard him talk to people who are infuriated, and 15 minutes later, he's got a listing appointment. It has nothing to do with a script. It has nothing to do with knowing the right thing to say. It has to do with listening to what the person is, continuing to ask questions, and finding out if they have a problem. I cannot solve a problem if I don't know what it is. And somebody,
I think that you and Tristan both, excuse me, sorry.
Please.
You and Tristan both, though, are also two of the guys who know the scripts better than anybody else, right? Yet you've internalized them and like picked it apart, and now it's just natural dialogue. So,
and to your point, thank you, and I appreciate that. And here's a funny story for all of you guys out there. I may have said this before. The first time I've been in real estate since 2005, I started selling general real estate right in the boom. And the first time I actually saw a script was 2013. Didn't know that they exist. It's kind of an embarrassing thing to say out loud, but I didn't know they existed. So when somebody showed it to me, I was like, I'd say some of those things, you know, and I developed some of my own scripts. But here's the number one thing. Once upon a time when I was in KW, I took bold. And what do they say in bold if you don't like the Diana Kokoska script? They say, well, the reason you're not comfortable with the script is because you haven't sold 4,000 houses. That's what the instructor told me when I told her I didn't like the script. And I thought that was kind of a snarky response, but I understand what they're saying. Really what, in my opinion, should have been said is you're uncomfortable with the script because you don't have mastery in the script.
Absolutely.
So really what that means is take some information. So for me, I want to build a script that sounds like Brian. As you guys can tell, I don't sound scripted. I sound like I'm a person who's having a conversation. So take some of these scripts, and you can find scripts anywhere. You know, you can go to the Tom Ferry site, you can go to Mike Ferry's site, you can Google real estate scripts, and there'll probably be pages and pages of them.
Oh, thousands of pages, yeah.
Scripts are not the mystery. Application of the scripts is the mystery. So take some of those things. Take this part that feels good for you. If you don't feel comfortable saying the script, don't say it, because I promise you, it's just like that telemarketer that calls me up, and I can literally hear him pause before he like literally doesn't know what the next thing, because he's reading it off a piece of paper. If this is your script, you're reading it off a piece of paper, you shouldn't call anybody. You need to get on the phone with somebody else and practice, because these seller opportunities, you know, for me, I look at a seller every single time I get to list a seller's house. That's an opportunity to sell 3 houses. And, you know, Facebook leads, they're not the highest quality leads. I'd much rather have a referral. I'd much rather have, I don't know, HomeLight's a great one. You know, somebody who's actively out there. But here's the thing. I got to pay a 25% referral fee on that. I got to pay a 30% referral fee on that. And by the way, they don't come in at my control. I can control my own business with Facebook and being willing to continue to have conversation after conversation after conversation. So, and let me go over this one real quick. So if I was, you know, one of the ones that I run all the time is, what's your home value? You know, Suneet was talking about at the beginning of the call, the 2014 home value. And hopefully not everybody and their dog's going to start running it, because I did this. But here's the thing. We all ran them in 2014 and 2015, and then we all stopped running them. So I kept running them because everybody else stopped. So there's an opportunity out there. Go out and, you know, do a little bit of research and see if other people are running those. If they're not running them, start running them. But it's a great thing to do. And here's step one. And this is not a phone call, but when somebody fills out that form for a home value report, send them this text message. Please rate your house on a scale of 1 to 10. If they respond to you, I want to guess when I ran those ads consistently that 1 out of 5, I got about a 25 to 30% response rate with a phone number, with a number. So you just, all of a sudden you're on your phone, you see 7, you see 6, you see 3. You can do 1 of 2 things with that person. You can give them a call, or you can just start a text conversation with them. There's nothing wrong with having a text conversation with these people and saying, great, out of curiosity, why would you rate it a 10? Out of curiosity, why would you rate it a 7? And you
Dude, gold. Like, I am doing that as soon as we get off the friggin' call, Brian. I am running that ad.
It works. And again, so here's the thing that's really interesting, because like most people who have run these ads, and I think you've probably done some of these before, all of these leads are 6, 12, 18 months down the road, and we've all fallen into the trap of these are crap, these are crap, these are crap, because we want listings today. And the thing that I really want to get across to people is you can get inexpensive leads and build a nurture program, and you do some automation. I'm sure someone else is doing I think Barry's doing some stuff on automation, Barry Jenkins, but we can do automation to this stuff, but just start the conversation on a scale of 1 to 10. And I don't know, I think you use Follow-Up Boss. Mine comes directly out of Follow-Up Boss. It's nothing special. The CRM sends that first message out the second they become a lead, goes into the CRM sends a text message, says, please rate your house on a scale of 1. And I promise
you can do a call action drip or agent legend drip or any of those things and just have the full conversation go on until you need to step in.
Absolutely.
Why aren't I doing this already?
I don't know. But, I really felt like for a while, 2014, I was probably the only agent in my market running Facebook ads. And last year, I felt like every time I logged on to Facebook, the only thing I saw was real estate Facebook ads. But it's okay. There's plenty of business out there for everybody. Suneet's in Sacramento. I don't know how many agents are up there, but there's a lot. But I promise you, most of them are not doing this. And here's the best news. Here's all of these scripts and all of these things we're talking about are great. Just make a phone call. Screw it up. And that's the thing I challenge every single person on this phone call today to do, or on this webinar today. Just make the phone. Call them and screw it up. If you screw it up, you still did better than the guy who didn't. Brand new agents I've watched over and over again screw up and get listings, screw up and convert buyers. Make the phone call and be a human being. So any final thoughts before we kind of sign off here, Suneet?
No, man, I'm texting my lead guy right now, like, dude, get on this.
Well, and it's a real opportunity, guys. So, and I don't know, I haven't run the cost analysis on it recently, but you're probably looking at leads that are between $5 and $10 a piece. Let me talk about this, and it's kind of my final thought, and then I'll give Suneet his final thought. Is understand that it's a 1% game. And that's really what you're looking for. If you get 100 of these leads, short term, you're looking to convert 1 into an appointment. Short term. Long term, you're looking to convert 5 to 7%, but short term, it's only 1%. So what that means is you're going to call 100 people and get 99 no's. But hey, what do you get paid for one listing? In my market, $7,000, $8,000. Suneet, in your market, $10,000. So
Sure.
Is 100 phone calls and $1,000 worth $10,000, a 10 to 1 ROI? For me, it absolutely is. Don't be afraid to call these people. Treat them like they're human beings. As a matter of fact, if you go into a phone call with the attitude that I'm calling my best friend to see how I can help them get their house sold, great. And offer them things. Offer them if they're not ready to sell their house, great. Hey, I'd love to send you a report about the 7 things to get ready to sell your house. Or I'd love to send you a report about anything. And by the way, you can get those reports just about anywhere. I'm sure LCA has some. I know Keeping Current Matters has some. All of this stuff is out there for you. Go out there and do it. So, Suneet, what's your final thought?
Hang on, I'm trying to get this ad up.
Suneet's final thought is, I'm running an ad as we speak. And by the way, everybody on Suneet's team, get ready to start making some phone calls, because he's out there ready running ads for you guys. That's really awesome. So I really appreciate you.
I'm really looking at this, dude, like, I can't believe I'm doing that again. And you even told me to last year. Yeah,
that sounds like something I would say. So anyway, any final thoughts before you go run your ad?
I think pretty much with any kind of lead, just know the dialogue, right? And people forget, practice. Know your listing presentation. Know what to say at an open house. Like, have a practice role play at an open house. What percentage of agents do you think actually know what to say in most situations?
I would say 20 to 30%. Most of
Yeah,
and
right.
But here's the thing. The ones who, I agree, the ones who are elite, they say the right thing. I'm not even looking to be elite. I want to be elite. But the next level down, the guy who's just willing to go out there and practice it and screw it up, that's the guy who's going to become elite. And
yeah, 100%.
You know, and the only way you're going to screw it up is to start making those phone calls. And if you have what I used to have, and first person to admit it, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I didn't want to make the phone call until I learned exactly what to say and how to say it and when to say it, and give up on that. Have a conversation with just like Suneet and I had today. And if you do that, I promise that you can get the 1% conversion. And that's short term. And I really believe that you can get to between 5 and 7% if you practice and follow up and, just go out there and do it. Just flip and do it is my thought for the day. So Suneet, thank you so much for being on. Go run some ads, and maybe we'll talk here in a couple of weeks to see how well you guys did with them. Cool, man. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. LCA, we'll talk to you next week. I won't be here. Dale will be here. I'm not sure who else is going to be joining him, but you won't have to listen to me next week. You'll get Dale. So thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Thanks, guys.